morning and welcome to Northwest Transplants. We are located just outside of the town of Molalla. We are a vegetable seedling transplant operation where we grow over 90 million seedlings each year. I'm really looking forward to taking you on a tour this morning. So at this facility we work with over 100 different customers of all different sizes, scales, and types of operations. Our facility is located here on 20 acres and we farm inside of one of these greenhouses. We have 112 greenhouses in total on this facility, which gives us just under 8 acres of enclosed growing space to use every year. With that space, we grow plants year-round for different projects for different customers. At this time of year, we are growing seed and genetics crops that will go into the ground in the spring. We actually have male and female lots of plants in this facility. They will be planted in a field together and crossbred in order to harvest the seed to create new varieties of crops for the future or to return more seed to the existing seed stock of those varieties. Typical plants like that are in this time of year are beets and chard, but we always have some sort of special project going on in addition. So I look forward to showing you each of those things. Our own soil blending on site, so the soil that you would have seen going into each of those trays or plug trays is something that we've captured the ingredients for and then blend all on site. So the main ingredient is a substance called peat moss. It's actually its own type of soil. That's what you see here in the big black bags behind us. We buy these by the semi-truckload directly out of Eastern Canada. That's the most consistent source of quality peat that we've been able to come up with. It is something that is a finite resource. At some point, peat may not be available, so we're always trialing with different substances and different materials to look for as an alternative for the future. Another component that we mix in is called vermiculite, and it is extremely lightweight and porous. It has an excellent ability to hold and trap water, so not only do we use it inside the mix, but we use it as a topper to top the soil as it's coming off the line with the seed in it. When this is wetted down, then it can protect the seed and help with germination. So this is a great topping. It's also completely sterile. The way that they make this is they take harvest the clay, vermiculite clay, and they put it in an oven and cook it at about 4,000 degrees, and it actually explodes the clay particle. And if you look in here really close, you can see that they look like, I call them tiny gold accordions, and they'll actually squish together, and you can squish all of the airspace out of them. And if you ever buy potting mix or anything at the store, this will look like little gold flakes that are inside the potting mix. So this is a pretty standard item that's used. This is something that we import out of South Africa. There is vermiculite available in the United States. All of ours is infected with asbestos though. So vermiculite used to be something that we used a long time ago as insulation in homes and other construction projects, and they found that those sources from the North America or the United States had trace amounts of asbestos in them. So for employee safety and to make sure that we're using a quality product, we import all of this out of South Africa. So we have to schedule our trucking and shipping and deliveries in advance to make sure that we can accommodate the trucking schedules, the schedules at the port, when container loads arrive. So the timing of buying these materials is planned out 6 to 8 months in advance typically. This time of year we are stockpiling on our peat moss out of Canada, and that's because if we have to order it in the middle of the winter because we short ordered or we didn't plan ahead, these bricks come to us frozen solid as basically large blocks of ice. It's just so cold up in eastern Canada, and there's enough moisture trapped within this soil material that they freeze completely. So our machines then get beat up and don't like it when they're trying to now become an ice cube crusher instead of a soil mixer. Welcome to Greenhouse 2. This is a unique greenhouse for us. It's one of very few that you can actually walk into. And we use this for all sorts of trials and experiments. If we're growing a type of plant for the first time, usually we start it out in here so that we've got better access to come in and look at it and monitor and control its growth. Right now we've got a few different trials going on. Some of them are for, again, Seed and Genetics Company. We're evaluating different types of turf seed here to determine which ones they want to move on with breeding in the future. We also have some beets and chard for some specialty seed growers. We also do some of our fun hobby projects in here. My father has a passion for growing citrus. So this time of year we are also harvesting our crop of lemons, limes, grapefruits, oranges, tangerines. We've got a couple of papaya plants in here. We also have some pineapples started. In order for these to bear fruit, we have to come in and hand pollinate each flower bud. Typically that's something that in open air bees or birds or other bugs and insects would be able to help with. But because they live in the controlled environment of this greenhouse, it requires a little help from man to help transfer that pollen in order for the fruit to bear. In order to keep every plant and tray on this property separate, we have a really unique system that we use in order to keep everything organized. So this is one of our tags. These tags go with every lot or group of plants that we produce for a grower, and it tells us information that we need in order to locate, identify, and manage the production. So this is a special breeding lot, and the customer gives us this name, the lot name that they want. So this is a numbered variety, which means that it's still in breeding development. They have not moved forward with a named variety that's available for seed purchase. The first 3 digits of our code tells us the customer number. We don't ever write our customer's name down anywhere because we do work with competing companies and they like to keep their information proprietary. So instead of having the seed company or the farmer's name, we have a 3-digit system that we understand internally. Then we have the week of the year that the plant was seeded. Then we have a unique crop code that tells us what type of crop it is, if it's a cabbage, if it's a tomato, a cucumber, etc. And then each lot gets its own code at the end here. So these numbers continue to grow every year as we input new seed lots and variety types into our system. And then finally we have a date here, and this is the targeted out date, or the date that the customer wants those plants to be ready. In this case, November 1st of this year is when we have tried to make the plants ready for the grower to take on for their final future endeavors. We use a lot of different technology here on the farm. We've got to manage and control the climate inside the greenhouses. So one labor-saving tool that we have is an automated roll-up system. You can actually set a thermostat in here in the greenhouses, and this system will automatically roll up or down the sides of the greenhouse to vent or keep the heat in. So right now I have it manually set to open. We're looking at a breeding variety of chard. This is a female plant. In each of these trays we have a pink tag, and in male lots we'll have a blue tag. That's to help the customer distinguish which is a male of the species and a female of the species out in the field. We also heat this greenhouse using radiant heat. So we're using a hot water system that lays on the floor of this greenhouse, and that temperature within the tubing on the floor of the greenhouse can be controlled by, again, a thermostat. So we've had a lot of interesting weather events that have disrupted our facility over the 30 years we've been in business. Just this last fall, in addition to the fires that were very close, we had a large windstorm, and wind is one of the things that is the most harsh on our greenhouses. This is the aftermath of one of those greenhouses. We have had to remove any of the plastic debris, and we're restarting with rebuilding the tables in here, and this will get new plastic. But this house was plasticked and had plants in it when that windstorm happened. So not only did we lose the structure of the greenhouse, but some of the plants that were inside were damaged. We have some greenhouses on this facility that were created a long time ago to work on a special sweet potato propagation project. At one point, McDonald's was looking at adding sweet potatoes to their menu, and so the growers were trying to produce transplant starts for the sweet potatoes. McDonald's eventually found that that was not going to be a successful endeavor for them, and the entire project ended. So we try to make use of these facilities in creative ways. In 2018, 19, and 2020, we began growing fresh produce and selling it in our local area via a self-serve produce stand. So as we worked through 2020, we found that that retail model started to work really well for us. And continuing on in 2021, we're looking to see what kinds of crops we can grow in this greenhouse year-round, even in the winter, and be able to offer those to our retail customers at our produce stands.
At Northwest Transplants, we are certified to grow conventional nursery crops as well as organic nursery crops. So right now I'm standing inside of our watering reservoir for our organic plants. All of these are fed via an aquaculture system. So these ponds are filled with fish. We use ornamental koi fish for a few reasons. One was because we had access to them based on a prior industry that we had gotten out of. We used to build and sell water gardens and build ponds for people. So we had an abundance of koi, but also their ability to stay alive and maintain during warm and cold temperatures and be able to frankly eat and then poop into the water to produce the nutrients that we need to feed those plants. We found that with these fish, if we feed them a nitrogen-based food product, like an animal protein or something, then we get more nitrogen compounds in the water. And if we feed them something that's a plant-based protein, we get higher levels of phosphorus in the water. So at different times, we may change the diet of the fish in order to dial in whatever our nutrient requirements are out in the organic greenhouses.
In order to diversify our operation and be able to use our employees and our workforce year-round, we were able to purchase the farm across the street from our nursery. So right now we're standing across the street from the greenhouse operation on one of our farm plots. So we farm a little bit over 100 acres here. Most of that is watermelons and pumpkins, but we also grow squash and zucchini and other crops that we sell in our retail stands, and then also to some of our customers that are doing farmers markets or some sort of retail customer outreach, CSA baskets perhaps. So we'll help to supplement the crops that they either aren't able to grow or have run out of. Right now we're looking at our retail pumpkin patch. Everything we do here is self-serve, which has been extremely helpful this year during COVID, that people can come and be outside to shop and be able to distance themselves and self-serve accordingly. All right, clearly we've got a lot of different things going on here at the farm. I'm bummed that I couldn't host you guys all in person this year, but I really look forward to hearing your questions and being able to answer those more. Hope everyone is staying safe and healthy, and I look forward to hearing more from you and maybe getting to see you all in person by the end of the year.